So, all right, we are live now. So, hi everyone, welcome back to another stream. Today we have the Turn team with us, where they will be talking about how they have built the universal execution layer for Web3. So, we have with us Marche, the co-founder and CTO, sorry, at the Turn protocol, and we have Joseph with us, who is the DevRel at their team who leads education, documentation, enabling developers how to use the protocol, all of that. So, Turn, in fact, is not like your other day to day cross chain messaging protocols where you can just transfer tokens, where you can just send cross chain messages. In fact, they have built a very smooth and efficient like layer where you can execute cross chain transactions, you can execute complex transactions just like how you do on a one single chain. You won't even realize that you are doing cross chain transactions or you are doing multi chain processes. So I will pass it on to Mache and Joseph to give a little bit introduction about themselves and then explain better how Turn is making the execution layer accessible for the masses in the Web3 space and how it is different than the others cross-chain messaging protocols out there. We have a lot of cross-chain messaging protocols in the space right now, but something like this is very novel and can be very good for developers. So I'll pass it on to you guys to talk about Turn a little bit more. And first, a little bit of introduction from you both. So, Mache, if you want to go first.
Yeah, super. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us today. So here, my name is Maciej. My background is in engineering. I've been moving quite a lot, I believe, in the Web3 blockchain space. Started really professionally in Berlin in my personal experience, the golden era of the new protocols getting born. It was the fruition of new up and coming interoperable initiatives. There was Cosmos, there was Polkadot, there were this many protocol and ideas how to essentially move out of a single ledger, single blockchain. So this is essentially how it all has started to me. We've been together with my co-founder Jacob working in Lisk, where we've been building sidechains developed in JavaScript, and they gave us like a very nice, good starting point to envision how to build the generic interoperable contracts without the really need to be bound particularly to one specific programming language or to one specific blockchain architecture. So that was a very much basis assumption of Turn in general. We have baked in very early to the architecture and to the protocol the assumption that there is many blockchain worlds out there that we would like to connect and interact with. And yeah, since then we really started prototyping, experimenting, and now we are at the time when we're ready to launch the mainnet, really, yeah, the first iteration of the protocol being in works. And about this one, I believe we're gonna have a little bit time to talk afterwards. So I'll pass it over to Joseph.
Thank you for that, Mache. Yeah, we will dive into that as well. Let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Joseph, Devrel, and PO here at Turn. So, one of the privilege in my daily work is to be very close with our community and making sure Mache and the team delivers on their expectations, which I think we've done very good so far. And yeah, and I'm excited to share some numbers and share some cool things we've done and even more cool things we have coming up.
All right, thanks both. So I would like you both to go a little bit deep inside what Turn as a protocol is on the base level. for our audiences, because our audiences, most of them are technical developers. So you can go a little bit deep, you can go as much as technical you want, up to you. But first of all, let me go back to our base question or initial question, like why turn, and how is it different, and what makes it more efficient and easy to use or easy to integrate than the current solutions out there?
Cool. Uh, so what is Stern at the moment? This is the kind of battle tested through the many months actually on testnet environments. With the uh, great engagement that we have seen from the community members. So the engagement was twofold so far. So we had users engaging with our user interfaces, where they were equipped with a, I believe, nice and shiny, colorful way to essentially interact between the chains to swap the assets, to transfer from one chain to another. And then there was the other role that community participants could have engaged with the protocol, which was being an executor, being the essentially the component that facilitates the cross-chain liquidity and the cross-chain execution between all of the connected assets and chain. So yeah, those two roles we have envisioned for engaging with the protocol initially, and this is essentially to build the efficient settlement layer to the cross chain realm. Technically, how essentially t3rn operates, this is a set of the Solidity smart contracts that is being at the moment deployed to, I believe, most of the layer twos that you have heard about. We're also quite active in the Arbitrum space when there is many new up and coming rollups, and we are also as t3rn one of them. So if you wanted to make a use out of all of the feature set that t3rn provides as the interoperable smart contract solution, this is where you would start deploying your contracts and interacting with the interfaces that allow you to essentially read the state, but also write to the state of the t3rn protocol, which then allows you to weigh out and weigh in to the other blockchains. So we do have nice set of, at the moment, integrations with many verification partners. I believe this is worth mentioning here. Espresso Polymer. So we do collect many essentially states from across the multiple blockchains. We pack them into the chain of ours, into Arbitrum rollup. From there, the read state, this is available for essentially any smart contract to then start building out the next evolutions on top of what user base, what users would like to see, what application users would like to see in interacting with the cross-chain space. And this is still using the very much the same approach that now we have seen through the build up to the launch. So this is tapping into the settlement layer of t3rn protocol. This is where the executors that we have built out, and all of the executors and users that have allowed us to battle test the testnet. We have amassed like a crazy amount of traffic that, like, in one moment. This is, I believe, where our engagement has started with QuickNote, with Sahil, where we saw that there is, with such a high demand on the cross-chain traffic, there is really a need for us to scale the protocol into so many layers. So it has become crucial while architecting the protocol that needs to facilitate the cross-chain traffic in such a big volume and in such a big magnitude. It is critical to be as efficient as possible when it comes to the RPC consumption, when it comes to rotating multiple RPC providers to make sure that the service operates 100% uptime, that the protocol is secure and functions always without any yeah, without any stoppage, that it is able to kind of account for any potential jobs in the performance rate, like all of the fun things that we love as engineers here. Yeah. So at the same time, this is building very much into cross-chain realm, but at the same time, constructing the architecture that is resilient. That I believe we know from Web2. So we do need to account for all of the insane amount of volume and insane amount of internet traffic, but at the same time, we do move in the realm of the Web3 contracts that need to interact with one another, and the state needs to be passed in a very safe way always, that guarantees essentially the same dynamic as it is on one single chain.
Yeah, definitely. And since you mentioned performance, Mache, I was reading the docs for Turn protocol, and I saw that with Turn, you do not, whenever you are transferring cross-chain tokens, you do not necessarily have to lock your tokens or mint your tokens, like like you do with every other cross-chain token transfer protocols or mechanisms. I saw that there is a very new concept called as executors, which works kind of like validators, where they bid for your transactions so that they can execute them, and then they execute on your behalf, and then they apply for reimbursement by submitting the proof and all of that. So Joseph, maybe if you want to dive a little bit deeper into this process, this can be a good segue into how the turn protocol actually works under the hood, how each and every component works, and what role they play into making this magic happen.
For sure, I think that's a good segue into it. I'm sharing the docs, by the way, where which you mentioned. So if we go to protocol architecture, which is where we explain about the executors, the solvers on our network. To Maciej's point, this has been like a major scaling discussion in order to make this function as it should. Not only for the executors themselves, but this is a whole like UX question, right? All of the users creating transactions, intents on our protocol, all of these orders are being handled by our executors, which are now well over 10,000 executors. Uh, in my opinion, a very impressive number. But all of this has been some form of like scaling discussions and trying to make sure that they function as well as possible. So if we scroll down, if we go to the protocol architecture page and scroll down, here is a brief like explanation of how this works. So if I zoom in a little bit, I hope this is fine, by the way.
Yeah.
So on the left hand side, we have like a user. In this case, we have our testnet v2 going on, where we have a bridge UI. So to Maciej's point, we're supporting some of the major layer 2 solutions networks already, and adding week by week. So you go there, you place an order, right? Let's say it might be from Mon token on Monad to Sepolian ETH on Optimism, right? That's the swap you want to make. So when you place the swap as a user, what's happening, right? And we've been not trying, we've been staying away from lock and mint. We don't see the future going that direction for many reasons, security being one of them. We see a different path. So when a user is placing this order, we have these executors lined up and bidding in order to execute this transaction. Because for them, bidding means that they are earning by fulfilling these transactions. And for the user, it's beneficial because these executors are bidding in a reverse order, like Dutch bidding. So they're bidding, they are going lower instead of up, which means it's getting more affordable for the user.
Yeah.
So when the executor wins the bid, basically is outbidding all of the others to the lowest price, then this executor has the opportunity to execute the transaction and make sure that the funds immediately get to the user's wallet on the destination chain. And then while doing that, they submit a proof back to the Turn protocol, which then unlocks the funds on the source chain and also the rewards for them. So in short, that's actually how it works. And we can go deeper into this, how it works, how settlement is working, the different layers that we have that Maciej mentioned, and also different actors within our ecosystem, just to make sure that this functions.
So
The,
I have one question, Joseph. So with this example, you mentioned that a user wants to swap or send funds from Arbitrum to Optimism. So in this case, will there be two different executors on either chain, or one executor will do operations on both chains?
it will be one executor making both of the operations. So when you set up executor, you have already set all of the settings, your strategies, the networks you want to operate on, even the
Mhm.
assets on those networks you want to support. So, based on those settings, executors can fulfill all of these cross-chain transactions. To be honest, without you even having to like monitor them. If you want to tweak something, that's very easy to do. But otherwise, if you set it up according to your own settings and strategies, then you leave it running, and it will execute to your predetermined settings.
Understood. And another follow-up question on the same, maybe it's just a dumb question, but from my understanding, let's say that I am an executor, and I see a very complex transaction, like relatively complex transaction, where someone is interacting with let's say yield protocol on some other blockchain via a blockchain A. They want to execute a complex transaction on blockchain B and get the stakes out of the blockchain B back again into blockchain A. So usually if you were to do that manually as a user, you would have to do multiple transactions first on this chain A as well as chain B. Then you will have to lock in and mint tokens on both the chains. But as an executor, when you are executing this transaction, do you need to be like how does that looks like from an executor's point of view? Do they need to be technical? Do they run scripts? Or how does that looks like from a executor's point of view?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can take this one on. So I think it goes back very smoothly to your previous also question. Yeah, the like executors are really not asked to put down like any liquidity, any like nothing is really expected of them. We have deemed the architecture to be relatively flexible in the sense that there is multiple versions of executors, multiple different strategies that executors can run their software with. We do provide them with like this one basic one that allows you to configure your arbiter strategy to it. There is also something very cool, like a next evolution on top that we have in works. We call it AI executor. That is also trying to be a little bit smarter about not only to listen to incoming traffic, but then also pulse and rebalance the portfolio against cross-chain assets by themselves. Essentially, like going to this little bit form where I think, as Jacob mentioned, like ideally you don't want to have, you don't want to interact and configure the executor as the running service as often. So AI executor, it kind of helps you to make this decision for you. So ideally you just leave this box of executor, you just deploy it on the server, and like it kind of keeps on running, and ideally, makes a little money on the side. And then at the same time, it does serve a very important function to our protocol because it does serve as the cross-chain traffic provider and the liquidity provider for the user. But then in terms of the mechanics, how it works, yes, exactly to like the previous points. So we only require executor essentially to, if executor likes the parameters of whatever user has submitted through the contract. They say like, okay, I want to do it. I post my bid. If my bid is the lowest over there, and for this we have this the pricing component, how low every executor can go with the pricing.
Mhm.
Then this is kind of it. Yeah, like whatever we have this 20 minutes window for executor to source the means to perform any cross-chain action possible. Yeah, in this the simplest case, if there is a couple of transfers involved in the cross-chain execution that are expected for one single executor to fulfill, then this executor is either expected to have funds on all of the destination chains and put them directly to the user's accounts. But really, how the protocol works, it is that the user, or like the ordering contract, it just says what is expected, what kind of action is expected on each chain. Yeah, so we do track it by just like collecting the arguments out of each event that got emitted on each destination chain. By this, we're checking that executor did the transfer for agreed amount to the agreed destination chain in agreed asset, blah blah blah. But you can scale it. You can scale it to practically like any event from any application. Like, has this swap on the uni chain, did it actually go through? If users have deployed new application, they have laid out the expected events that will be emitted from each application. Then it is really convincing essentially a couple of executors there, and this is where we believe the t3rn protocol finds its niche a little bit to perform those most kind of those more custom tailored actions. Yeah, because not all of the executors need to perform all of the actions. Not all of the executors need to have assets on all of the chains. They don't need to support all of the chains. Like, I can, for example, like be with a couple of others executor for this specific app. The rest does not interest me. Or like, I'm only interested in arbitraging between Base and Optimism in Ethereum and USDC, and I don't care about any other token. Or I can, potentially set this price that I'm gonna be charging for like more kind of unknown paths of all of the orders that are there within the t3rn protocol.
Got it. So, if I'm getting this right, just like back in the day when we used to do P2P transactions on centralized exchanges, some of the providers were just dealing with certain types of tokens. Similarly, executors can choose what kind of strategies they want to get involved with, what kind of chains they want to get involved with, and when they see a matching or or good fit transaction, they can bid for that. Is that somewhat similar or remotely similar?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's correct.
Yeah. So from our side, we're only able to check like, okay, that's something that user has said. Did it happen on the destination chain or not? Yeah, that this fund got transferred to the destination chain, and then there is this whole buffer of a window where executor can do whatever they want. Really. Yeah, like if they wanna extend their own executor to integrate with some centralized exchange API to source the funds on the time, they can do it. It's actually not the way we are evolving our executor at the time. We're thinking more of this all lending protocols of all of Uniswaps to integrate everything on chain and add it as an extension of a module to an executor to perform and use. But yes, essentially, virtually anything is possible within this time window for executor to source whatever means necessary to fulfill the order.
Understood. And for the audience members, some of them might be interested in actually becoming executors. So what's the process looks like for applying to be an executor? I know you mentioned that they do not need to put down or lock in any kind of liquidity in the beginning, but what does the process looks like? How can they actually become an executor on the network?
And that's a very, very good question. And it's a very smooth process. So you actually go to our docs, which is docs.t3rn.io. And then you go to the executor section and you set it up. You just follow the 7 or 8 steps, you set it up. So what's great about that is that we don't need to make such a hassle of setting up executor because it's not centralized. We don't need to go through a bunch of different loops of setup meetings, calls, etc., etc. Instead, you go to our docs, you set it up. If you need help, we have a massive community on Discord that is so active. It's crazy. They are helping each other setting up executors. and also helping each other out with strategies and um, managing different networks and assets amongst executors. And we, myself, and the team is there too. Exactly, that's the link. So we have a binary version of executor, and we also have a GUI for, I wouldn't say the less technical potential executor, but those who want to have a nice GUI to play around with. That's the way to go. Uh, and you start there, join our Discord. We are eager to help you out. And then whichever networks you'd like to support, or whichever assets, or whenever you want to run executor, pause it, and then run again, it's completely up to you. We don't set any boundaries to anyone. We just encourage everyone to do what's best for them.
Understood. So thank you so much, first of all, for explaining the process to our audience. And I think now everyone who's watching should have a good understanding of what the turn protocol is and how does it work and how they themselves can participate in the network. So I think I will like to ask a bit of a general question, which is related to interoperability and the silos which we see in the ecosystem right now. So we see that there are these chain stacks, OP stack, Arbitrum's Orbit stack, ZK Sync stack, all of those. So they have a unified layer, but that is just limited to the chains which are launched using those stacks. For example, chains launched using OP stack will be able to use a unified liquidity layer, liquidity shareable layer, which is the super chain layer, if I'm not wrong. And same is for Orbit chain, same is for ZK Sync chain, stack chains. So they still create, I mean, they do open doors to a little bit of interoperability between the chains launched using the same ecosystem, but still they kind of create a little bit of silos between ecosystems. So since you both have been like working in this use case for such a long time and you have this awesome product, so what do you guys think that what interoperability problems actually hinders a DApp developer, and what kind of new opportunities opens up with Turn protocol for a developer who wants to or who is building an application which involves multiple chains?
Yeah, this is a fun one. This is a fun question because indeed this is how all of the experiments with interoperability have started out. Like there was like multiple different ecosystems that were kind of growing by themselves, and I believe this story continues. Yeah? So like it started off, and there was like Cosmos, and then you can jump between the hubs of Cosmos. Yeah, there was a. Not really the kind of this bridging between the L2s. This is kind of like also the evolution of the last years. That the rollups can between themselves like they communicate smoothly. Uh, Spoiler alert: we are no better in the sense that like of course like at the moment we can only support only chains that we have integrated to with the. Yeah, the biggest priority for now is essentially to focus on supporting the EVMs out there. At the same time, we do like to see what's happening, with all of the other ecosystems kind of maturing and growing by themselves. Because at the end, like all of these partners that now we speak to, with having kind of architecture in place that allows you to exchange the cross-chain traffic, to listen for what has happened on the different chains, it is quite helpful to then interact with the entirety of solutions similar to Turn that facilitates the cross-chain execution between multiple layers at the same time and not kind of needing to integrate with chain one by one. But then you can imagine like having multiple solutions like Turn for us. It's it's a much easier thing to do to integrate with one cross-chain message passing protocol rather than kind of battling with each uh, chain one by one. So at the moment we are like on the smooth kind of smooth integration process with any EVM like anything kind of we call it more exotic. We have the works on Celestias, on Polkadots. This is requiring more of an integration effort with us. But again, the protocol scales and a little bit to kind of just dress it up in the more kind of a less technical manner. There is this ongoing fashions, I believe, in the blockchain industry in general. So like some of the protocols, some of the smaller ecosystems are kind of like very popular at one time, and then uh, yeah, I don't know, like something happens that essentially the interest is not that high. So we'll see. Like we are, I believe, pretty common sense in terms of the expansion routes for Term, but at the same time, I believe all of the cross-chain protocols and all of the, everyone who's working in interoperable space, I believe the mission is quite aligned in the sense of like, okay, like in one moment, we would all like to forget that that at the end there is this multiple chains, and we do have solutions like Turn, like others that facilitate the cross-chain execution layer so that the end users, the end developers, they don't necessarily even need to understand the intricacies of interacting with each particular layer, programming language, fee system, consensus, by themselves. So I think as we grow, as all of the granular ecosystems all together, at the end, it kind of comes, into this one goal of cross-chain disappearing really and being all integrated.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate take, I would say. Um, Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think I just have one question for Joseph. You will be the best person since you work so closely with the community. Um, any interesting or very unique use case which you have seen from the community during the testnet phase?
Any unique use case? So as we at the moment support bridging from different L2s,
Mhm.
one of the unique things we've seen, or unique things, one of the interesting things we've seen is what Maciej said, that we're adding support for multiple networks. How we've not completely, but to some extent, decided on which networks to add support for. We've done that through community voting, just to see the interest out there. Not really an answer to your question, but I think that's one case. Another, well, actually, another unique take from the community initiatives would be that we do have a strong dev community. As I said before, helping each other, setting up executors. Not only that, but they're actually building their own scripts. So even before we arrive to the point where devs can deploy smart contracts to our protocol, we already see these potential tech-savvy people already like creating scripts that are being used by a lot of community members, and with really good results overall, like for example, for running executor.
Mhm.
uh, so I guess that's something I would like to highlight.
No, definitely. And I've also highlighted the link to the community channels of Turn on the screen. So feel free to join those channels if you are looking for help, or if you are building in Turn. There can be definitely multiple developers who can just help you out if you are stuck somewhere, or even if you're not stuck, just go out in there, share your progress, share what you are building. And yeah, I mean, definitely all the other community members will definitely like to check out your solution as well. So I think that brings us towards the end of the stream. And just one small feedback sort of a question from you, Marche, that since you folks have been uh, working with the QuickNote team for a long time, you folks have been using QuickNote for some time now. What, how does QuickNote has helped you build this robust offer product? Yes, you are helping users to do cross-chain stuff, but how QuickNote has helped you to actually make this happen? In what ways? If you would like to share, or and if you have any feedback for us, happy to hear that as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I just need to say, Quick Note saved us all, huh? Now, the short answer to it is, yeah, there is a, in terms of the, yeah, constructing this kind of multi-layer cake, multi-chain thing to it. QuickNote is quite good because it does provide essentially all the chains that we want to integrate with. There is an RPC out there. Yeah, so this is very, very nice. The second thing, there is like, especially in EVM, like EVM ecosystem, there is multiple public RPCs out there that are available for anyone to use. And they, I believe, like a good entry point for testing something. But they are building out and scaling the solution like others, like ours, that really have been battle tested through our community. That really needs to be, relatively stable for all of our 10,000 executors, not even mentioning our own services that need to be reliable all the time, uptime 100%. Even if we do lose some traffic, we need to go back. But in the future, in the history, like RPC, it really needs to be as reliable as possible. And in these battles, like all of these public ones that we use, the DDoS quota we're reaching very, very quickly. Huh? So kudos here to QuickNote for scaling down, for scaling up, sorry, not down, for scaling up their infra so it actually can accommodate all of the
Scaling down
cross-chain
the
traffic
problems.
that we need. Scaling down the problem. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have been working on the obviously technical tooling front with the Turn team, but in the coming future, we would also like to work with the Turn's DevRel team with Joseph to create a lot more educational content. This is just the beginning, where we did this to introduce our audiences with the Turn protocol and how they can get started. But definitely we would love to create a lot more educational content with the Turn team. And if you have any questions, by the way, whatever you saw in the stream, if you want to ask any question to Marche, if you want to ask any question to Joseph, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below, and they'll be happy to answer them. And if you are watching this on the YouTube channel after this has gone live as an actual video, feel free to drop those questions as well. And feel free to, in fact, drop any topic suggestions if you would like us to cover those topic in video format, or if you would like us to create tutorials, guides on those topics, around how to create X using Turn, how to create Y using Turn, all of that.
Fantastic. It was a very good one. Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys. I think it was very good, and that speaks because people does not have questions, and that's usually when the explanation itself was so good that they do not have any question.
Great job, Mache.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for having
Thank
us.
you so much, everyone who joined us and who stayed until now. And we will see you in the next one.
Super. Fantastic. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you. Ciao.